if you could say anything about starting a bowing practice at home.
Well, people who take refuge with Triple Jewel, we act as, we decided, Hung Sher and I and Hung Lu and all of us monks and stuff decided, and the nuns too, decided that instead of, we won't take disciples ourselves, because we're nowhere close enough to be a teacher. So we set up a thing where we represent the master during a refuge ceremony, and because we represent him, we follow his rules, how he led his disciples take refuge. Now, he used to do whole groups, sometimes even thousands of people at once when we went to Taiwan. But then he changed later on. He says, from now on, people who want to take refuge with me have to do a little work. They can't just take refuge and walk around with their little refuge book saying, I'm a Shifu disciple. That ain't going to do it. He says, you got to at least bow to 10,000 Buddhas sometime in your lifetime. You don't have to do it tomorrow, but you got to do it. You got to make a sincere effort to bow to 10,000 Buddhas. You can set a time every day and bow every day. That's one way to do it. You can just do it in big blocks if you want. Just keep track of what you're doing. And that's one of his main requirements, which no other teachers do that. I mean, that was Shifu's thing completely. So we keep that model going. So people take refuge should practice. And so a lot of people will do that. They're very busy during the day, but when they come home or before they go to work, they'll set aside a certain amount of time and say, okay, I'll just bow Buddha here and keep track of it. Some people just go to Wanfacheng during the 10,000 Buddha repentance. They say, I'll just do it there. I'll do it all at once. 28 days, I'm done. You know. But other people just really, what happens is people really like the practice. And over time, they just keep doing it no matter whether they get 10,000 or a million. They'll just keep bowing. So, but I just told you that story because that's one of Shifu's instructions, and it really works pretty good. People get kind of, especially new people, they get freaked out. 10,000, oh God, I can't do that. But I said, no, you don't have to do it all at once. So maybe that's, you can start working on. Just set a time of the day where it's best for you, either in the morning or in the evening, or both. If you're really busy and you're working, say, okay, I'll get up a little early, and then I'll spend, anywhere from 10 minutes to half an hour or an hour bowing, or something like that, whatever time slot you can fit in there. Or you can say, well, when I get off of work, I'll do it. Or maybe you'll do it both. You just set a pattern. It's sort of like you're going to the gym every day. Just get in the habit of doing it. And then it'll just become part of you.
And what am I doing with my mind?
I'm trying to think of the book that Shifu talks exactly about this point. When you're bowing, there's all these different levels of bowing. Let's put it that way. Basically, if you're really bowing Buddha correctly, there's nothing in your mind but just Amitabha. Let's say you're bowing Amitabha, or if you're bowing to, like say you're just doing 10,000 different Buddhas, like we do 10,000 Buddha repentance, we recite a different Buddha each time. A lot of people just recite Amitabha and bow. Let's just use that as an example. And that just becomes, there's only Amitabha. That's all your mind has when you're bowing. It's a form of Chan. Shiva has always told us, actually there's no 5 schools of Buddhism. There's just one. When the Buddha was in the world, there was no Pure Land school and Chan school. It didn't exist. They were made by people's attachments. Some people are attached to bowing, other people are attached to sitting, other people are attached to learning and studying. So they came up with these different schools to accommodate their proclivities. So mine is, I'm attached to Chan, but I don't care. I do, to me, because Chifu's taught me over the years that they're all intertwined. When you're bowing, just that is Chan. When you're sitting, just that is Pure Land. So you're basically trying to still your mind, and what you're really trying to do is bring your mind to the present when you're bowing. Just like when you're sitting. Same thing. You want to bring your mind to the present moment. Be here now. You ever heard that phrase? Be here now, please. Don't be off somewhere else. That's what you're trying to accomplish when you bow. And then once you start getting here now, when you start really, you say, okay, I'm just going to be here now for this 10 minutes that I bow. Okay, I can sacrifice that much time. I offer that up to all living beings. I'm going to really focus on being here now. I'll indulge in some false thinking later, but right now, I'm going to be here now. So you do that. And then recite the name. Now, what's cool about bowing and you're reciting, especially if you're doing multiple Buddhas, you have to pay attention to which one you're bowing to. That keeps you a little busy. At least your mind ain't sitting there in Chan trying to be still. It's doing something. It's working on something. You know, you have a Buddha to pay attention to. And so that's another good thing about it. Or even if you're just reciting, like, say, Amitabha's name, at least you're reciting that name with your mind and even with your mouth. You can also do it. You can do it vocally if you wish. But most people bow silently. But some people like to recite it out loud and bow. You know, if they're privacy of their own home, they do that. Both are okay. But that's your initial practice. Later, when you really start getting accomplishment, real accomplishment, you get this light going on inside you, and you're just nothing. There's nothing in your mind but the Buddha that you're reciting. You just have this light. You become everywhere. Everything everywhere is Amitabha, or whatever Buddha you're bowing to. That's an inconceivable state of which I cannot explain to you because I have yet to achieve it. But that's a very high state of bowing. So you have no self at that point. There's no you anymore. There's no me. There's no I. It's all disappeared and disintegrated. It's like those poems that Hung Sure was doing the other night with Shulao when he awoken. It's the same kind of thing. It's a Buddha bowing samadhi. You've entered it. You've achieved the way through bowing Buddha. All viable. These are all viable Dharma doors. But to begin with, you just want to bring yourself to the present at first. You're not going to have all that popping off unless your roots are incredible. So you're going to just start bowing and just try to bring yourself to the present and put all this other junk that's going on in your life aside for whatever minutes you can pull it off. When you first start, you might be able to get away with maybe 5 minutes or so, or maybe 1 minute, I don't know. But later you might get good at it, you know, as you do it. You get into the rhythm of it and you just say, okay, this is our time, me and the Buddha. At the end of this time I can go off and do whatever I need to do and worry about what I need to worry about. But for this point, this is our pure place. I don't want to be indulging in a lot of false thinking. I just want to focus on the Buddha's name and bow. So you might want to try with a small block of time at first. Don't try to push yourself into the deep end of the pool. Don't say, okay, I'm going to bow for 5 hours and then see how I do. No, wait, whoa. You might want to try something you can actually chew. You know, if you've never bowed before, hey, just do 5 or 10 minutes. Then extend it. You know, I can do that. And the next day, say, well, maybe I'll kick that up another 5-10 minutes. You know, whatever you can seriously be able to do. And then when you find yourself lost in thought, when you're bowing, you just stop. Say, okay, this is our special time. I'm going to set that aside for now. I need to focus on the present. I need to focus on the Buddha. I'm bowing.
Once you start counting the 10,000 bows, and you actually start counting them, can you count every single bow that you do during the day, or can you only count the bows in the special bowing time?
No, you just keep track of how many times you bow to the Buddha.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all bows to the Buddha count.
Yeah. If you want to really get, you know, some people say, well, I'm going to go visit the temple. I got to bow. When I go to the Buddha hall, I'm going to bow to the Buddha. Well, I'm going to count those too. Because I don't want to get through this 10,000, so I'm going to count. If you want. And the Buddha's going, well, this guy's a real cheapskate. Look at him. What you're really doing is you're not bowing to some deity. You're bowing to your true nature. That's what you're really doing. Because you forget, you have the Buddha nature. You have a Buddha inside you. That's who you're really bowing to. You're bowing to get all the obstructions out of the way so you can see that Buddha, so you can realize that Buddha. So you can say, in a sense, you're bowing to yourself. Only you're bowing to your true self, not your false self. But you're also bowing to all Buddhas throughout the period. Because when you become a Buddha or up to close to being one, like a Guanyin or an Manjushri, it's like this. It's like interpenetrating. You're just all like a gigantic symphony. You all work in harmony as one. There's no them and me, others. You don't have a self. It's gone. I mean, literally shattered. You just don't. You could say the word I, and it has no meaning to you. When we say I or me, you're thinking I'm talking about myself. Me, myself, and I. the three wonderful persons. No, they don't exist. When you shatter that, as Amitabha used to say, that is the Pure Land.
Of all the different practices, different Dharma doors there are, what do you find is particularly rewarding about bowing? Versus, say, many people are interested in meditation these days. Why would you?
I'm attached. I was not attached at all to bowing when I first came to study with the master back in 1970, 71 and stuff. I just wanted to do Chan, and Shifu instructed me over time that you don't want to be attached to any one practice. Shifu taught all of them. He taught all 5 schools. So he taught us the Pure Land school and the bowing school. He says, just that is Chan. And you don't want to be attached to Chan. He says, very few people can do Chan correctly anyway. Very, very few. Maybe 1 in 100 can actually do Chan properly. Because it's what's called the direct school in Buddhism. It's the no BS school. You sit down and you just do it, but you've got to have some really hard cultivation bark on you to pull it off. And if you can, then you can go straight to enlightenment. But because of that, it's the most difficult. And Pure Land for Westerners is probably the better school because it's something we can do with our bodies, mouths, and minds while we're cultivating. So you can recite and bow. That keeps you busy. So you don't have a lot of time to false think about everything in the world because you have to pay attention to when to bow. You got to pay attention to who you're bowing to, and you have to pay attention to which Buddha you're reciting. Especially if you're doing multiple. If you're doing like the 10,000 Buddha repentance, for instance, you have to pay attention to each Buddha. So you guys, what's the next one? Okay. So it keeps you busy. It doesn't give you a lot of time to do a lot of mind-wandering, false thinking. Chan, however, you're just sitting there. It's real easy to get lost in thought. Bye-bye. Oh, where are you? Oh, I'm a couple of days ago. Oh, I'm thinking about the future. Hello. The sit's over. You just wasted another hour. But so bowing is very good for that. And it also keeps your chi proper because you're bowing, you're using kind of a yoga. It's kind of a form of, or Tai Chi. It's a form of Tai Chi or yoga when you're bowing. You do it properly. So it keeps all your energy, all your focus and everything's, lined up. So bowing is very good. And that's part of the Pure Land school. It's probably the essence of the Pure Land school. Bowing Buddha. Bowing and reciting.
还有一些个人嘛，说是研究佛法。来修习佛法，但是净做口头上的工作，而不实实在在的去做去，不依照佛所教的这个方法去行持，那么这个也是就等于这个魔一样。也不能把它列入佛教徒之内好像有一些个人说不拜佛见着佛他也不拜 他说他是信佛的，但是不拜佛，这种人呢，将来的后果呀是不得了的。究竟到畜生里边去啊，是到这个地狱里边去啊，是到恶鬼里边去啊，这没有人保险的啊。为什么呢？你学佛法就要依照佛所教导的这个方法去做去，不能说是把一个我呀看得我比佛都大，这是一种大错而特错。那么学佛法的要不但见着佛要恭敬佛，就见着菩萨也要拜菩萨，见着这个罗汉也要拜罗汉，见着这个大善人大修行人都应该恭敬他，都应该崇拜他，不应该有一种贡高我慢的以为自己是不得了了。这个在中文呢有这么一句话，说自大，自己看着自己很大的，这个字念个什么字呢？念个臭字。所以咱们无论任何人学佛法的人，一定不能自大，一定要谦恭和蔼，对任何人呢都谦恭。你看这个现在讲这个《法华经》，这个常不轻菩萨，我今天呢来给你们先讲一讲这个常不轻菩萨。这个常不轻菩萨是谁呢？就是释迦牟尼佛过去生的修菩萨道的一个过去的身，就是他往昔的一生。这往昔的一生有一生他就专门行菩萨道。行菩萨道怎么样行法呢？他专门恭敬专行这个普贤菩萨这个十大愿王。普贤菩萨十大愿王是什么呢？一者礼敬诸佛，第一的就要顶礼恭敬一切的佛，这是第一。诸佛就是过去佛、现在佛、未来佛，十方三世一切诸佛，他都恭敬礼拜。二者称赞如来。第二呢，这个普贤菩萨第二大愿呢，他要赞叹如来，就是佛怎么样好？说那佛怎么也欢喜赞叹吗？不错，佛欢喜赞叹。可是你这个赞叹呢，不是赞叹佛，赞叹谁呢？你赞叹佛就是赞叹你自己那时候我自己不愿意赞叹我自己，你自己不愿意赞叹你自己，也就不要赞叹佛。佛和众生是一个的。说那我既然是佛，我就不需要拜佛啦这又是一种错误。你自己是佛不错，可是你没有修。你自性是佛，但是你没有修，还不能和佛是一样的，没有正果。